Aaliyah, just through the adversity that you guys went through this season, especially maybe in August when people were going down left and right, did you guys feel like this was always possible to make the playoffs? Did you ever have moments of concern or doubt? And what allowed you guys to just keep, the eyes on the prize more or less?
Yeah, I think, just being someone in this locker room, you never doubt yourself and what you're capable of, no matter what happens. I think the entire staff, up to the head, just made great decisions when people went down on who to bring in, the type of people to bring in. And that was really our mindset. We never doubted ourselves. We never doubted that we could be in the playoffs. Even if things looked like it got harder, for us, it was about sticking together. And I think through everything, you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together, regardless of who's on that floor.
What does a single sentence in a loud locker room have to do with a 29-point demolition on the road and a playoff ticket punched without your superstar? For the Indiana Fever, everything. Aliyah Boston didn't just play big, she spoke big. And that line turned into a rallying cry that carried a patched-together roster straight into the postseason. Here's how a team with half its rotation in street clothes walked into Baltimore and walked out with a 94-65 statement win over the Mystics. And a second straight playoff berth. Let's rewind.
Playoff! Dub! That's how we clinch, baby! We can't! W. Playoffs! Bow, bow, bow! Yeah! Playoffs, baby!
Mitchell in transition lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game. Sims off the cross again into the paint, lays it up and in.
Caitlin Clark, out for the season. The groin injury that derailed her summer never healed in time, and the organization shut her down so she can get right for 2026. That announcement changed everything. Expectations, roles, the noise around this team. No more will she return headlines, only who's stepping up. And the injuries didn't stop there. Sophie Cunningham, season-ending MCL. Sydney Colson, torn ACL. Ari McDonald, broken bone in her right foot. Chloe Bibby, done with a knee injury. That's an entire guard rotation and a front court piece wiped off the board. Indiana had to reinvent itself on the fly, again and again, and still find wins in the chaos.
When you think back to the beginning of the season, if someone were to tell you, like, this is where you should be, this is your team, but
yeah.
Generally, what do you think the reaction would be?
Probably no stinking way. I don't think, thinking back to the beginning of the season, that anyone would have ever foreseen it going like this.
So how did they do it? With grown woman basketball. Step 1, set the tone physically. From the opening tip, Natasha Howard went right at Washington. Rim runs, seals, free throws, repeat. She finished with a team-high 17, the kind of no-nonsense scoring that settles a road game. And she wasn't alone. Aerial Powers came off the bench like a spark plug. 15 points, 6 boards, 4 dimes. And Shea Petty didn't miss a shot, drilling all 3 of her threes. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston did what she does best: own the glass, move the ball, control the paint. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and a game-best pulse whenever she was on the floor. Receipts? They're all there in the box.
It's been your third season. It seems like you've been a lot more assertive or spicy this year.
Spicy?
I'm spicy. Smooth. I feel like for me, it's just my approach. It's just coming in and just trying to be dominant in anything the team needs. And so if that gives off spicy, which I really don't think it does, I feel like I'm like kind of quiet. Spice? No, I just know it's spicy. Huh? But yeah, I feel like that's just been my mindset, is just coming in and just being the player that I need to be for us. Whatever that looks like, it looks like.
But this wasn't a one-quarter heater or one-player hero ball. Indiana strangled the game in the third. Washington scored 9 points in that entire quarter. Passing lanes were clogged, drives got swallowed, and every Mystics mistake turned into easy offense the other way. By the time the fourth started, this wasn't a contest, it was a countdown. That 29-point final margin, it ballooned to as high as 33. That's not a win, that's a message. And the math told the same story. 22 Washington turnovers, 27 Fever points off those giveaways. Only 6 turnovers for Indiana the whole night. When you force that kind of imbalance, the scoreboard takes care of itself.
Even if things looked like it got harder, for us it was about sticking together, and I think through everything you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together regardless of who's on that floor.
Now, about that sentence. After the game, Aliyah Boston was asked how they kept belief through August, when players were dropping left and right. Her answer was simple, and it sounded like a mandate from the captain. Never doubt yourself or what you're capable of. Stick together, play with joy, and keep moving forward, no matter who's on the floor. It wasn't a speech with fireworks. It was a standard. And the rest of the team played like they'd stamped it on the whiteboard. This is where the season quietly flipped. With Clark out, Indiana didn't go searching for a new savior. They built a new identity.
For whatever reason, things happen, and you've got to continue to put your best foot forward. You got to continue to stay the course. This group has been forced to grow strong roots, and teams can go one of two ways when those things happen. You either use it to pull you together and as motivation to continue to get better and do it for one another and do it for your teammates that have been lost to injury, or it pulls some teams apart.
Kelsey Mitchell slid between roles, steadying the backcourt even on a cold shooting night. Lexi Hull did the grimy things: dives, deflections, energy. Powers and Petty formed the kind of bench combo that changes playoff series. One bull in the lane, one sniper from deep. In Boston, she became the center of gravity. Not just the center by position, but the pivot for everything. Rebound it, outlet it, repost it, swing it. Her decision-making turned Indiana into the team that gets the shot it wants instead of the shot it's forced into.
Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul. Petty three, knocks it down again. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop, and she drops it home.
Fever 94, Mystics 65. Indiana's in. And now you know, despite all the adversity, this incredibly resilient Fever team is going back to the playoffs in 2025.
If you watched closely, you felt the rotation tighten and the purpose sharpen. Odyssey Sims arrived mid-season on hardship and gave them veteran bite at guard. The Fever stopped waiting for help and started hunting advantages. Early seals for Howard, empty side actions for Mitchell, second unit pace with Powers, and high-low touches that let Boston quarterback from the elbows. It's not glamorous. It's winning. And here's the bigger context people are missing. This wasn't just make the playoffs. This was back-to-back playoff berths after a 7-year drought, a franchise finding its footing again. That matters in Indiana. It reopens the door to home playoff basketball in front of a fan base that waited nearly a decade to feel this again. The league's new first-round format guarantees everyone at least one home game. The Fieldhouse is going to be loud.
And we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Okay, we got another one on Tuesday, and in the playoffs, ain't nobody gonna want to see us. No one is gonna want to see us. That's right. Nobody. I'm not gonna say it, but yes. Okay. So we continue to focus on competing to the standard, preparing to the standard. All right, and then we scare the hell out of this league. Hell yeah.
Let's talk matchups, because the bracket isn't kind. Atlanta, Las Vegas, Phoenix? Pick your poison. The best of 3 means you've got to steal one on the road and hold serve at home, but here's why Indiana is a nightmare to prep for in a short series. The shot map is by committee. You can load up on one star and take away plan A, but how do you game plan for 5 in double figures and that turnover gap? How do you game plan for a third quarter where your offense just dies? That was the Mystics' problem. It can become anyone's problem.
How would you describe the locker room after the game today, just being able to sell
Well, we didn't make a TikTok, so I think everyone is just super excited. Like you said, it hasn't been a perfect road. And so for us, it's enjoying the little moments while at the same time understanding we have another game on Tuesday and then we have to prepare for the playoffs. But I think just being in the moment and being where our feet are and kind of just enjoying this one.
And then there's the intangible. Joy. You heard it in Boston's voice. You saw it in the bench. The TikTok jokes after the buzzer weren't a distraction. They were a signal. This group is loose, connected, and unafraid of the moment. Joy is not fluff. Joy is a force multiplier when the legs are heavy and the whistle gets tight. Teams that like each other run harder in transition and rotate one step faster in hell quarters. It shows up in those "how did she save that" plays from Hull, or that extra pass from Boston to a corner shooter who hadn't even been hot yet. That's culture.
Dolson had to stay home because she had an occupied side. In terms of a cutter in her area, she stayed. Petty free, knocks it down again. Flip it. He's just such a solid stabilizer for Washington. Howard, right to the hoop, lays it up and in. Fourth foul on Austin. Boston down low. Double tongue, drops back to Howard, who lays it up and in.
Now, for the fans who've been living every update, yes, Clark being out still hurts. You don't lose a top-tier playmaker and become better overnight. But a funny thing happened when the noise settled. The rest of the Fever leveled up. This playoff run is the tuition they'll cash in next year when Clark is back healthy. All the late-game reps for Mitchell as lead guard, all the elbow reads for Boston, all the second-unit responsibility for Powers and Petty, it doesn't vanish when number 22 returns. It compounds. And that's how you build from made the playoffs to win a round. And then, make noise.
And more than anything, y'all, big picture-wise, this group, there would have been so many teams that would have folded with all we've been through. And we just kept getting better. And we kept getting tougher. And we kept becoming more resilient. And we kept figuring things out, right? Like, we've had like 7 new teams throughout the course of this season. And no matter what, we've been flexible. We've been accountable. We've put each other in positions to be successful. And we've continued to put one foot forward and stayed the course.
Let's anchor on the receipts one more time. Scoreline in Clinch, 94-65. Ticket punched. Second straight postseason. Third quarter chokehold, Mystics held to 9 points. Turnover math, plus 16 margin in takeaways, 27 points off them. Balanced scoring, Howard 17, Powers 15, Petty perfect. Boston double-double with 5 dimes. The message, never doubt yourself. And they played like they believed it. That's not a hype package, that's the blueprint.
When I look at this group, I'm just so incredibly thankful for the type of people that we have in this locker room, for the way that they have been able to continue to stay the course and bounce back and stay together, to pull for one another, to really be flexible enough to make space for different types of teams that we've had throughout the course of the year, and to continue to put ourselves in position.
So, what changes in a series? Details. Expect Stephanie White to keep the playbook streamlined. Early touches for Boston to force double teams. Empty corner PNR to create clean reads for Mitchell. Weak side shake actions that free Petty and Lexi as you helped, you lose punishers. Defensively, they'll live with tough twos if the nail is protected and the glass is owned. Howard's physicality lets Boston roam as a helper. Powers gives them a downhill option when possessions bog down. And if Sims' minutes spike, that means tempo is the plan. not the panic.
Austin got that rebound. Here's Powers. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop. Here she drops it home. 8 on the shot clock here for Citron. So free screen that. And then they got the switch they want. Oh, couldn't get it in. Tough turnover there for Washington. The loose ball collected by Dolson, as Citron brings it over half. Powers in the passing lane. No one to beat. Lays it up and in. See if they can get back to that and connect plays and stack possessions with that level of effectiveness.
What about the pressure? It's real. 2 road games in a best of 3 is a bad math test. But this team has already passed harder ones, playing weeks without a true point guard, re-signing players on rolling hardship deals, changing the rotation mid-flight, and somehow winning anyway. If you can figure it out in August chaos, you can figure it out in September chess. Last thing, and it matters, this is back-to-back playoff basketball in Indianapolis after years in the wilderness. Fans didn't just show up in Baltimore to see who wasn't playing. They showed up for the crest on the jersey, and they walked out with the confirmation that this version of the Fever is for real. You're not supposed to be this resilient with this many injuries. And yet, here we are. Aliyah Boston didn't mince words, because she didn't need to. The work said it for her, no doubt. Stick together. Play with joy. That's not a cute slogan. It's a competitive edge. It traveled. It suffocated a team in the third quarter. It got them one more game at Gainbridge and a puncher's chance in any series that dares to overlook them. So here's the picture. The lights are brighter, the scouting is tighter, and every possession will feel like a migraine. Perfect. That's where culture shows up. That's where that one quiet sentence turns into a loud reality. Indiana didn't just survive, they evolved. And if this is what they look like with half a roster, what happens when they're whole again? If you're fired up for the playoffs, drop Fever Playoffs in the comments, smash like, and make sure you're subbed with notifications on, because the next video breaks down the first round matchup and the 3 counters Indiana will use when teams try to wall off Boston at the elbows. Let's go.